Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace and blessings upon you all. My name is Brother Amin, and I am the program manager for Link Outside. So for those of you who don't know what Link Outside is, we are a part of the outreach committee for the Islamic Institute of Orange County, and we serve a very important yet neglected portion of the community. A portion of the community that unfortunately some have even forgotten about. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about no other than our incarcerated brothers and sisters. So tonight we have a very special program that we're going to be talking to you about the stories and the lives behind the brothers and sisters that correspond with us. And specifically, tonight's night is specifically and exclusively about our incarcerated sisters. So before I get started, I would like to introduce my good friend and brother Zian, and he's going to start us off with some Quran. So if you could please just
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Zian, and I'll be reciting some verses from Surah Al-Insan, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا إنا خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة أمشاج نبتليه فجعلناه سميعا بصيرا إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا إنا أعتدنا للكافرين سلاسل وأغلالا وسعيرا إن الأبرار يشربون من كأس كان مزاجها كافورا عينا يشرب بها عباد الله يفجرونها تفجيرا يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا إنا نخاف من ربنا يوما عبوسا قمطريرا فوقاهم الله شر ذلك اليوم ولقاهم نضرة وسرورا وجزاهم بما صبروا جنة وحريرا متكئين فيها على الأرائك لا يرون فيها شمسا ولا زمهريرا ودانية عليهم ظلالها وذللت قطوفها تذليلا ويطاف عليهم بآنية من فضة وأكواب كانت قوارير من فضة قدروها تقديرا صدق الله العظيم. السلام عليكم.
Jazakallah khairan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you immensely, Brother Zian. So I would like to actually start with the words of Allah. And so what our dear brother just recited are the verses from Surah Al-Insan. Now, those of you who may recall, there's a lot of virtues in this surah. It's talking about some of the amazing rewards of the hereafter of paradise. And there's a really amazing line in that surah that I would love to share with you. And this is really what I would like to start with, because a lot of people come and ask me, why should we as believers, as brothers and sisters in humanity, as Muslims, why should we have such a huge concern for incarcerated or individuals who are incarcerated? Why is it so important? And so I like to start here, because this is actually something that Allah, God, is actually telling us about in the Quran. So the verse I want to actually hone in on is the part where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the types of people who are getting these rewards. In these verses, they're talking about being in paradise, some of the most amazing things and gifts that you could think of even. And so who are the actually people that Allah is referring to that are deserving of this amazing reward? And so Allah says actually three people. وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. So Allah is saying, who are these people that are getting paradise? They're the ones who are feeding or are giving sustenance to three types of people: the yatim, the orphan, the miskeen, those who are not well off, who are downtrodden, don't have much sustenance, and the last category, asira, the prisoner. And so Allah is saying that if you are actually supporting these three people, now although it says to feed, some of the scholars have taken the virtue and said it's not necessarily limited to food, but it's anything of goodness that or benefit that you're bringing these people. So it's very oftentimes we see all sorts of nonprofits talking about helping orphans, helping people who are poor, but how many are actually focusing on incarcerated individuals? The tafsirs actually for this particular verse is individuals who actually were fighting against the Muslims. So these are what we call prisoners of war. So if Allah is saying, if you treat the prisoners of war, people who were actually out to harm the Muslims, and you treat them kindly and you feed them, that you are you can be given this reward. So imagine how much more important it is for us who have incarcerated Muslim brothers and sisters, how much reward there is in serving them and helping provide for them benefit. So without further ado, I'd love to just jump into the program right now. So link outside is the organization that I'm from. I'm the program manager. And just to give you a quick background, we provide Islamic material, Qur'ans, Islamic courses, personal development courses, and correspondence, and as well prison visits. Obviously now with COVID, we put those on hold, but we are kind of a full and all-encompassing prison outreach organization, and we even provide mentoring and support for incarcerated individuals once they return home. We're based in Southern California, but I am very honored to have some amazing sisters that I can't wait to share with you. They're coming all the way, thousands of miles away from the beautiful state of Georgia. That's right, it's been in the news lately. So we're gonna have a chance right now to introduce some of our guests. So I'm gonna first actually introduce our MC for the night. She's an amazing individual. I'll let her introduce herself. I'm going to be joined now by no other than Sister Khadija. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for that introduction. And thank you for having me. I'm super excited. So, like he said, my name is Khadija Abdulaziz. I am from Atlanta, Georgia. I guess a little bit about myself. I love hosting, speaking, writing. I'm an author. I just wrote a book. I'll actually show you guys that later. Also, I have like a little pin right here because I am running for a pageant called Miss Black America, where I want to kind of show a picture of what it is to be a Black Muslim woman, and use that platform to spread inner and outer beauty. But I also traveled to the prisons in 2018. That whole entire year, we traveled to the prisons and we went and we spoke to these women. We counseled, we connected, we heard their stories, we laughed, we cried, we even had someone take shahada. I did do that. Like I gave someone shahada, so that was amazing, and it was just amazing. It was a crazy experience that you just have to, I guess, had to be there to understand. We couldn't take videos and pictures, so it was just kind of like an intimate thing, but we can share the energy with you now so you can get a little bit of what it felt like. But other than that, I'm super excited to talk to these women. I met them in there and watched them grow and come out of it. So what better way to see them here now to interview them? So yeah, if we want to go ahead and bring them on. So first we have Karima, Hanifa, and Fatima Abdullah. Hope I said their names right. Bring them up. Last names.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sisters.
Wa alaikum
assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know it's 8 p.m. Georgia time. So we really are happy to have you here. And I'd also like to thank, before I forget, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for facilitating this event, alhamdulillah. And thanking our sponsor, the Islamic Institute of Orange County, also known as IIOC, and as well as A Loving Act, Iman Atlanta, CARE Georgia, Muslim American Society, PACE, and the Muslim Community Center of East Bay. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it back to Sister Khadija, and please go ahead and let us hear some of these amazing stories, inshallah.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, I'm excited to get to talk to you all and ask you some amazing questions. I guess we want to start off with introducing yourselves a little bit. Do you want to start off, Sister Karima?
Sure. So my name is Karima Hanifa. I'm 21 years old. No, I'm just joking. I'm 42 years old, and I'm formerly incarcerated. And where should I start? I guess I should leave it there. I served 26 years at the Georgia Department of Corrections institution. I was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences at the age of 15 years old. I've been home for close to 2 years now, and I think as a introduction, that's about it.
Thank you so much. But we're gonna get into some deeper questions, so that was perfect. And Fatima.
Assalamualaikum
Love the orange.
Mashallah, shukran. Okay, I'm Fatima Abdullah. I've been home for about I would say a year, and probably like going on like a year and some change, like a month maybe. I was sentenced to 15 do 5. I pretty much did majority of my time, pretty much 5 years, and I'm home now. So
yay. And you're smiling, so that's amazing. So who would like to go first? I want to give y'all that option. First question of the day. Who wants to start?
Fatima can go first.
Fatima. Okay, Fatima. So we would like to know if you could please tell us, like, talk to us about your life growing up prior to incarceration. How was that for you?
Okay. I would have to say, man. I was born into Islam. I was raised in Islam. So it was it was good. I was always in like even though I was like, I'm originally from New Haven, Connecticut, and I was born in not a great area,
right.
Like,
so it was a bad area.
Yeah, pretty much the hood. So in so many words.
Keep it real.
So but being in the Islamic community, it kept us out that kind of environment. Even though I lived there, it was just always I would say I started going astray probably when I was like a little bit before I went to high school. And once I got to high school, I was just like,
so it was the school setting that kind of started setting it off, right?
I don't know what it was, but I just started straying away and rebelling and just doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah, finding yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah.
But you always had a foundation. So you upset, but you always, like you said, you started with that foundation, even though we all stray off a little bit.
Yeah.
Prior to that, you had that foundation.
Yeah, I'm definitely grateful for that. That foundation, and just growing up like my father, he passed away probably when I was like 5. So like it's always just like he passed away when I was about 5, and it's always been my mom and my dad. They actually they were born and raised as Christians. They converted, and before they even before I was even thought of. So I was I came into Islam, and alhamdulillah, and so yeah.
Oh wait, so you converted by yourself?
No.
I was after.
Yeah, my parents were Christians, and they converted. Before my dad introduced Islam to my mom.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm like the middle child. So like that, my mom, before I was even thought of, I was gonna be raised into Islam.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as you all can hear, based off her story, it already shows that, environment can play a part, but also, someone losing their father at a young age. I'm all about diving deep into trauma and what that looks like, what that feels like. At a young person, do not know how to go through emotions, do not know how to process that emotion. And usually it does come out with rebellion. And I can only speak from my experience. I did the exact same thing. And so, automatically right there, we can't judge people off of their actions, because a lot of the time it is us dealing with emotions as young people, and we don't know how to do that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And then I would like to ask Sister Karima the same exact question. And if you could tell us about your life growing up prior to incarceration.
All right. So I was born and raised Muslim as well. My parents were Muslim long before I was born. So I come from a very large family. There, my father has 16 children. And my father was actually the imam in Atlanta for close to 30 years at Masjid Al-Mu'minun. Let's see, where should I start? So when I was very young, I attended Sister Clara Muhammad schools, which is the private Muslim schools. And then right before my teenage years, I was sent to Senegal, West Africa to study to be a Hafid, which didn't work out that way. I ended up living in West Africa for 6 years. For 6 months. And when I came back to the United States, I went from private school, which was very sheltered, to living in West Africa, to coming back home and being placed in public school, where there was like, I couldn't adjust, right? Like I saw girls who didn't wear hijab and wore short skirts and had boyfriends and talked back to their mothers. And it was like a culture shock for me. And so at that point, my rebellious stage pretty much kicked in. From probably 12 to 15, I began running away from home as a part of my rebellion. And I would have one last time that I run away, the summer of 1993, in which a young lady would lose her life that was a friend of mine's, and I would become incarcerated for her death at that point. So in a nutshell, like, I guess that's like my humble beginnings.
Right. So as you would say, the same thing. Like I said, as Muslims, we kind of see that we're so immersed in the light and so sheltered sometimes that when we get around that dark environment, it's like, it's just you're drawn to what side. And like you said, you've seen the girls without the hijabs, with the boyfriends, and I can totally relate. To that part that both of you spoke on.
We start feeling like the grass is greener on the other side.
Exactly. And just too spoiled, thinking that we can handle it, and then get into it and you realize that Shaitan got a lot of tricks up his sleeve, and it's we got to really fight for our souls.
Right. That introduction to the dunya is definitely something else. That introduction to the lewdness of the world and not being exposed to it, it's almost like very exciting,
Wait, can you repeat that one more time?
I was saying not being exposed to the dunya, and then being exposed to it. And because we didn't have for me, because I didn't have previous exposure to it, like feeling excited by it, by the lewdness of the world, like wondering, like, what's that? What are they doing? What does that mean? How does that work? And just that human curiosity that we all possess, that made me want to learn more, which was definitely like a slippery slope for me.
Exactly. Like I said, I agree. It's that I was homeschooled as well, and sheltered, and always in the home and stuff like that. So when you get around and you don't know how to handle it, and it's very, very tough. And also being Black women, I think in general, we already have to grow up with generations of trauma, or generations of things that we deal with within families. And so it's always good to add that part in that, as well, to say that even that we struggle with things that comes from generations that we kind of have to work on as a people to make sure that we're healing ourselves. So thank you so much. So we're going to go into, I want to ask you another question. I guess we'll start with Fatima again. If you can please talk about your time, like being incarcerated, especially as a Muslima. Like, what was it like?
I would just have to say, yeah, it wasn't just walk in the park, of course. It was just difficult. Just being a woman and a black woman at that, and then a Muslim. So it's just like three, we had just just like all this against us. A woman, black, and Muslim. So it was just like the officers, alhamdulillah, it was a humbling experience. Let me just say that. I just know I could just remember them giving us a hard time for everything when it came to Ramadan and Eid and everything, and us getting out for prayers, and just I could just recall all of that. And it was a situation I actually had with the officer, and he actually he was just like he was just like, oh, come here, take that rag off your head, and it was just like and I end up writing a grievance on him. I end up writing a grievance, and Atlanta end up granting my grievance. One of my friends that were she helped me write that grievance up, and what was it, Erica, she helped me write that grievance. And what happened was another officer heard him say what that to me, and she backed me, and
right. What exactly is a grievance? Do you mind explaining that? What is that?
Is a grievance is pretty much like something like it's a complaint pretty much, or
okay,
just like for like an officer,
Yep. Okay.
And like, so that's what happened. And I wrote up the grievance, and Atlanta actually granted it because of the fact that another officer backed me. She heard him. And also it's just going there, it was really like I said, it was really a humbling experience. Like, I could just recall being free and going straight and doing everything that I can do that wasn't of Islam, that wasn't of what I was supposed to be doing. And I could recall going to prison and having a fight just to pray. And I was just in a free world, you know what I'm saying? And I was just free. Like what you doing? Like, I had this I was in the free world, and I wasn't even on my deen like I was supposed to be, and here I am, like I get here in prison and I'm like fighting, you know what I'm saying? So that was just, it was like when you're in the state of humility, and nothing really could bother you, honestly, you know what I'm saying? Yes. And I'm grateful for it, because being that out, like I said, I was grew up in Islam.
Yeah.
And being that when I went to prison, I didn't know a lot of stuff. I just knew, like, oh, you gotta pray, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. I didn't learn certain stuff like Tawheed, Akida. I didn't know about that stuff until it was some stuff that I knew in Arabic, quote unquote, that I thought I knew.
Yeah.
And that I didn't even know in English, that I didn't understand.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, I'm grateful for the prison time. Honestly, in prison, they used to call me Malcolm X. They were like, go get fat. That's my nickname. They used to call me, go get fat, go get fat. They used to call me Malcolm X little sister. Malcolm X little sister, go get fat.
Listen.
Like, so it was like, they got me, that first prison I was at, they got me out of there real quick, because I was just too much for them.
Alhamdulillah, like what you said was so deep. Like, to say that you were free, and then to say that you were literally fighting to pray when you got there, like how the life switched, but you left an amazing imprint there. Like, you didn't just still go there and then come out, like you're saying, like they call you Malcolm X. Like, hold on, that's a good name. Like, but so if you can give me one more thing, which would be like, tell me an uplifting experience that you had, like a story. If you have a story, or just share how something uplifted, if it was us coming there, or whatever it was.
Just to be able to just connect back with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for one. For two, like I said, because I had strayed away. I was wild. I wasn't covering. I wasn't astaghfirullah. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't I wasn't praying. Like I was
get
just
it.
wow. So just
You get
like getting that connection and getting that understanding and learning certain things. And I'm still learning to this day. And I'm
Yep.
studying and I'm doing this stuff I did not know. You know what I'm saying? It was just like
Yeah.
pray this, you can't do that, you can't say a lot in the bathroom, you can't do that. Like I said,
Right.
and just to be able, you know what I'm saying, and be able to have people follow, you know what I'm saying, follow me
Exactly.
and you know, and be able to, you know, people took their shahada. People, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
have people under my wings.
Exactly.
You know, one of my Muslim sisters, Kwan, she took her shahada, and you know what I'm saying? The way she was and the way she is now is like she's a totally different person. Like they literally like label the United States, label her as a menace to society. Like she's a totally, alhamdulillah, she's a totally different person.
Well,
so
that's so good. That's
yeah.
so good. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to Crimbo. I do want to say, like, to piggyback off what you're saying. So if anybody's watching, and you can understand how much we should not be judging women who's coming out, because their lives are literally being changed by Allah. Their lives are literally being directed into something different. So we can't sit here and someone get out and then we don't want to deal with them, want to shun them from society, when these women are coming out better than they were when they went in. So just always keep that in mind. If you hear someone, a sister, a family, anyone in the community having to go through this process, know that usually a lot of the times Allah is cleansing their souls as they're coming out. So they're coming out as better people, more angelic. So just remember that. All right. So next, I want to go ahead and ask Sister Karima. Oh my gosh, I used to love your spirit when I used to come. You were always just that boss lady that was just giving us the knowledge. You was giving me knowledge. You were always helping. You was always so amazing, and I loved your spirit while you were there. So if you can just tell us about your time there and what was it like?
So when I came into the institution, there was a chaplain. Her name was Chaplain Wajiha Kabir. She was a Muslim chaplain for all 3 prisons in the state of Georgia. And probably maybe 10 years, within the first 10 years of my sentence, she ended up with breast cancer. May Allah make her grave spacious. Eventually, she did pass. And so she was very instrumental in making sure that we had Juma and Islamic studies. When she passed, I think that SOPs, which are standard operational procedures, began to change. So there was a period when we did not have a chaplain. We did not have any solid leadership. And because I came from a Muslim family, and because I was there for so long, and because I was the most knowledgeable, like, it was my obligation as a Muslim to step up and say, okay, look, we need to start teaching these sisters how to make their salats. We need to teach them the tashahhud. We need to make sure that they know at least 5 short surahs so that their prayers are being accepted. We need to make sure that we have access to kimars and hijabs and prayer rugs and Qur'ans, right? And so for many years, they used to call me their Amira, right? Like, I think that's just a word that they made up, because I don't think it really exists. But like, I would be leading. So no matter what institution I was in the state of Georgia, like, I always led Juma and Islamic studies. I always made sure that we had supplies. There were years when my parents made sure that we had Eid feasts, that, you know, we had the supplies that we needed. Something about the women's prison is that there is a larger population of Christians, of course, than there are of Muslim women, right? And so there was a point when we could have Juma and Islamic studies amongst ourselves, right? But then they decided, one day they woke up and they decided that if we didn't have a chaplain, that we couldn't have services. And so I just want to talk a little bit about how a loving act was started, right? So there was a sister that was incarcerated who came from a different state, who desperately wanted to get into Juma. And so I didn't even know how a loving act actually started until she shared the story with me. That just me being me, I was walking down the compound doing something, you know, I always kind of stayed in my own lane. You have to make yourself self-important in prison, right? Or you just kind of fall in place with everybody else. So I'm walking self-important, and somebody yells, "Assalamu alaikum." And I look back. She said, excuse me. They told me to find you. You can get me in Juma. And I said, what's your name? I looked back at her. I said, what's your name? And she gave me a name. And I said, I got you, right? And by that Friday, she was added to the list for Juma. And so she decided while she was incarcerated that if Allah ever freed her, that she would make sure that that the Islamic community had volunteers, that we had Eid bags, that we had Juma, that we had Islamic studies. that we had to eat feasts, large in abundance, because there are a lot of reverts and a lot of converts in prison of Muslims who, like Fatima shared, who were maybe raised Muslim but never led salat before, right? When there are specific hadiths that say when there are all women present that a woman can lead, right? But if you're used to your husband always leading and then you find yourself incarcerated, then you realize how much you thought you knew that you don't know, right? And so that was something that was very important, to actually have the time to sit down and study the Quran and study hadith, so that for one, that if someone who came along who maybe said, oh, I've been Muslim for 50 years. Like, you can't just allow people to tell you anything, that you have to know Al-Islam for yourself, right? You have to know what the Prophet ﷺ said and did. You have to know how his wives behaved, right? These things are important in Al-Islam. And so there were a lot of things that I was able to teach from my memory because I was raised Muslim. And so there were just stories that I remember from my childhood because I wanted people to have the closest experience to Islam as possible. And I always say, you know, after 26 years, I cannot tell you how many people I've given Shahada to. May Allah give me the greatest reward. I don't know. People have come and told me, you gave me my Shahada. And I'd be like, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I didn't even remember. Like, I'm not going to turn somebody away if they say that they want to be Muslim. If you say that Islam is your truth. If you say that, you know, you bear witness that there's no God but Allah, Muhammad is his last slave and messenger. So that was my experience while I was incarcerated, just basically leading for people. Leading the people, no matter where I was, right?
And I saw that. I saw that coming in. I was just like, she's on it. And just imagine, like, you being that vessel for so many people, like you being in the deen, growing up that strong, and then coming there and being that strong vessel for other people. I seen it when I walked in. We knew it, and it was a light, and it was a blessing. And so I'm
and I don't want to delete this. That just as Fatima Abdullah, like, I remember rebelling against Islam. I remember saying, I don't want to be Muslim, right?
Yep.
But today I am Muslim because I choose to be Muslim, not because my family is Muslim. But I always tell people, when you are incarcerated, well, really, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. When you close your eyes at night, it's just you and Allah.
You and Allah.
And Allah pulled me through those 26 years. And I realized that it was Allah that has sustained me, that has maintained me, and that has kept me. And it made me a better Muslim. You know, when you're behind that wall and you hear the call for prayer, it literally brings you to tears because you have had that experience and that nearness to Allah. When you find yourself in a dangerous environment, things are happening around you, there's violence being inflicted upon you by those in authority and those in superiority. And so you know that at the end of that journey, that only Allah could have kept me safe, and only Allah could have made me a better
Muslim. Well, first of all, we're going to shout out Atia Ali right now, because I was saying we when I first did the introduction, but I should have said her name. So Atia Ali, I wouldn't be able to have this experience. We all would not have been able to have the experience if she didn't become a light and a vessel for the Muslim women in the prisons. So a loving act, the one who put all this together, the one who showed me the way to go through the prison walls with her, changing one life at a time. You need to go to a lovingact.org. You need to donate money. You need to support, because she is a vessel, and she's the main vessel that's been behind all of this. And so even though I'm here as a face and a speaker, this woman is beautiful, and so I'm just here representing that amazing thing.
We can't hear you.
Okay. Also, too, I just wanted to jump in and give a quick announcement, and then I definitely want to go back to the program, which is, some of you might be listening and asking yourselves, I would love to help. You know, I maybe not be local, or maybe a different state or overseas, but I want to help. So I want to give a plug out, you know, 2 ways that you can help, and then I'll go right back to the show. One, definitely through donations. You have a lovingact.org and linkoutside.com. We have the websites actually scrolling on the bottom here. The second thing is this is brand exciting news. I haven't actually announced it officially yet, but we're going to be actually today launching a specifically sisters-inspired prison outreach volunteer base. What we're going to be doing, inshallah, is creating newsletters that we can then distribute exclusively to incarcerated sisters having inspiring articles, personal reflections, artwork, poetry. So I want to say, if you're interested in that, you want to help out, you have something you want to share. I know we have some authors here today, alhamdulillah. Please email us below. We have our email also. It's info@linkoutside.com. And we would love to have you join the team, and your words, your passion, your experience can inshallah be an inspiration to sisters across the country. So I'm going to go back to Sister Khadija. Take it away.
Thank you so much. You couldn't have said it any better. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna ask you, Sister Fatima. So what have you been up to since you returned home?
Work.
I bet you enjoyed it.
You know, alhamdulillah, before I had went back into society, I was in a program where, you know, it's called the TC, is a transitional center. You've been there, Khadija, before. My whole mindset was like, okay, I'm just go get me a little 9 to 5 and like and then just like start from there, you know, or whatever, and just stack my bread and stuff like that. But then, like, right before I left, I was like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to working a 9 to 5. I had came so far away from working a 9 to 5 and working for myself for so long. It was just like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to, you know. Here I got like now, you know, when I came out, I was like, let me just do something where I think I could have some type of, I'm micromanaging myself. I'm looking over, I'm doing stuff for myself. So I was like, I started doing DoorDash.
Yay.
So I started doing DoorDash when I first got out of prison a year ago. I was doing DoorDash. I was like, you know, I'm really grateful, you know what I'm saying? Because some people don't have that kind of support coming home. You don't have family support and everything. So I had that, you know, alhamdulillah, for my umi. Like I'm grateful for that. And so I literally just came home with nothing. I didn't have no money. I didn't have no car. Like I probably, before I even went to prison, I probably had over 30 cars. You know what I'm saying? I used to buy and flip. I used to buy and flip car. I probably had so much, and it was just all gone. I didn't have nothing. You know, so it was just like, okay, I'm starting from the ground, literally.
I love that. I love that you became an entrepreneur, and I think that's amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and just end it off with you on this one as well, and just say, what message would you like to give to the audience?
I mean, the struggle is, you know, coming home and getting job placement, you know what I'm saying, or housing, you know what I'm saying, that. So you can get, you may get a million no's, you may get so many no's, but you're gonna get one yes. So don't give up. Don't give up. Get in a masjid. Get in the inside of a community. For the Muslim women coming home, get into a community, you know, inshallah, you know.
Yes, inshallah.
So that's don't give up. Like,
well, that's good. That's a good message, and we appreciate that. And I'm so proud of you, you know, because we do have, you know, maybe stories where someone maybe came and fell back into it, and for you to still be strong and stand your ground, hijab, just doing, you know. And I know we all still struggling, but I'm so proud of you, and thank you so much for being here and for inspiring us. And you know, we love you, so we're always going to be supporting you, inshallah. So, Sister Karima, I want to ask you the same exact question, like, what have you been up to, like, since returning home?
Oh, goodness. What have I not been up to, right?
Exactly.
So I would have to say, what have I not done? So I came home April the 17th, 2019. Exactly 2 weeks later, I opted to become an entrepreneur. So I opened a hair salon. The name of my salon is Hanan's Hair Designs. COVID kind of slowed things down just a little bit. I found it necessary to relocate because of the economic impact on my small business. I did a TED Talk since I've been home. I graduated from Life University with my positive human development and social change degree. I am presently working as a community organizer for Iman Atlanta and championing and spearheading a campaign called No Taxation Without Representation, which is basically a petition that is circulating in order to change the law so that 266,000 disenfranchised citizens in the state of Georgia will have the right to vote while still on supervision.
That's so amazing.
That is our goal. Yes.
That's so amazing. So what would you like to leave the audience? I know we got to wrap up soon. So just hit us with some powerful inspo real quick.
Oh, there is so much. And this is what I'll leave our audience with. I want to share a story of an incident that happened that is very uplifting and very empowering, and it is a reminder of who we should be as Muslims. So when we are incarcerated, all we have are each other. Like literally, all we have are our Muslim sisters. That fellowship that we have with each other. We might not always get along. We might not agree on who's gonna lay what rug where, who's gonna lead Salat, and who's gonna read the Quran during Ramadan. But we do get organized amongst ourselves. So there was an incident, and I always like to share this example because it's a reminder of who we should be as Muslims. So plus I believe that the way that I live my life today is a reflection of everyone that is to come. Like I am here to pave the way for every woman that is still incarcerated. So there was an instance where I was in a dorm, and there was a lady who was maybe on the side of severe mental health diagnosis. And so she was hungry, right? She came, I'm sure you remember Khadija, the A unit ladies over the TC. And so she was hungry. And so I was standing up on the catwalk. And just to show that I am human as well. And so I'm standing up on the catwalk, and there's like laundry call going on or something. And so everybody is like not really paying attention to what's going on, but I'm always watching my sister's back. So I see a lady walk up and stick her hand, right, in one of my Muslim sisters' cereal bag. And she just sticks her hand in the bag in front of everybody, and she starts to eat it. And so I'm like, hey, you stealing, right? And because I've spoken and because of who I am, everybody in the dorm is like, hey, she down here stealing this lady stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't mean for this to turn into this. Like, I wanted Miriam to know. I wanted Miriam Doof to know that, hey, this lady is eating your food. And so being the Muslim that she is, and just her culture, because she's West African by birth. And so she was like, wait a minute. She asked the lady, she said, you ate my food? And the lady was like, of course, like, yeah. And she was like, why did you eat my food? And the lady was just looking at her, and she was like, are you hungry? And then the lady was like, still looking at her, and she was like, take it, you can have all of it, right? So I'm standing up on a catwalk, and I'm being observant. And while I'm thinking that I was doing the right thing by saying, hey, that's not yours, stop eating my sister food, the correct response was the way that Miriam Doof responded, which was to say, if you're hungry, that you can have it. And so it was an immediate reminder for myself, hey, you say you Muslim, you say that you believe in Allah, and that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his last messenger, then you should have some compassion in your heart. And so that was a reminder that it's one thing when we say who we are, and it is another thing when we do who we are.
Thank you.
That was an action. That was definitely a loving act and a reminder. And I share that with people everywhere.
Yeah.
Because there are so many good Muslims inside of the prison. And when people stray, it's because they don't have a network, because they don't have people to catch them, because they don't have a strong network system. They don't have positive family, positive friends, positive mentors. They don't have access to resources. We hear about resources being available. And one of the things that a loving act brought in to us was they built relationships with us in the community, where when I got home, Khadija, I found you.
Yep.
Like, listen, I'm going to a sister's little fashion show, get together. It's during Ramadan. Are you interested? It's gonna be all sisters. And you was like, you gonna be there, girl? I'm gonna be there too.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that relationship, that the volunteers, that energy, that love, that support, that nurturing, that Islamic just compassion, sympathy, empathy, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam talks about the common humanity, right? And so
we're gonna open up for questions too in just a minute. So just give us a few more questions, but go ahead. I'm sorry to cut.
Oh, I thought I was talking too much. I just wanted to say that, the prophet came for everybody. The prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came as a last sign for the humanity, for all people. He didn't come for the Christians. He didn't come for the Jews. He didn't just come from the Muslims. He came for everybody. And so there will be people who see us in our hijabs, see us beautiful, walking through the compound, see the volunteers come in and want to know, can I come to Juma? Can I come to Islamic studies? Who are those sisters? They were so kind. They were so nice. They are so beautiful. And we're talking about just natural glow. Like they say, when they bring the lights inside of a very dark place. And there are some very good people, good Muslims who come out, and if you don't have a strategy, if you don't have someone to help you, then you go back to what you know. That's just human.
So much. Thank you so much.
So welcome.
You couldn't have ended it any better. Any better. That's amazing. And y'all touched my heart. I have nothing else to say.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So, Sister Karima, I don't know if you also asked the question about what message you have for the community. We forgot to.
Oh no, that was it.
Oh, that was it. Okay. Jazakallah khairan. So, alhamdulillah, we have about 15 minutes to have some question and answers, because I know there's probably a lot. There's probably a lot on your mind right now, like the fact that, like, subhanallah, Sister Karima was studying to memorize the Quran, right? Like that's just, I would not have in 100 years would have imagined that or thought about that. So a lot of amazing traits and gems here. So I do want to actually start off with the first question that our dear brother Malik Johnson has asked. So he says, are any of these women willing to connect? My wife is incarcerated and I don't know what she goes through, nor do I know what to expect when she comes home. So I could answer the first part of connecting while incarcerated, and then I'll let the other sisters share their advice. In terms of anyone who is incarcerated, in male or female, brother or sister, Muslim, non-Muslim, Link Outside has a fully operating prison outreach correspondence program. So regardless of where you are, county, state, federal, we have a way to connect with you. We answer your questions. We write to you. We give you inspiring articles. We connect you with really good quality Islamic material, books. We even have courses and classes you can take. So to answer that first part, Brother Malik, go ahead and send us an email, info@linkoutside.com. You have it rolling on the bottom, and that way you can actually, if you could just send us her name and ID number, we can take care of the rest. We'll send her information about how to connect. The second part of the question about advice for coming home, I think I'm really not qualified here, so I'd defer to the sisters if any of you want to answer that. Sister Karima, Fatima, Khadija, just feel free.
I just would say deal with your loved one in patience once they come home. There's a transition that it happens. It doesn't matter how long you've been incarcerated. One day is always too long. And it's just take into consideration, if you think about being completely free and then being completely locked up, right? And having to transition from doing what you want to being confined to a 10 by 10 cell. Then imagine them trying to transition from being inside and regaining all of that freedom back. And so I just would suggest that you deal with them in patience and in love, and also acknowledge that there is a trauma that is associated with incarceration, and it needs to be addressed. Trauma doesn't go away, and trauma is just not doesn't just impact people that are incarcerated. There's trauma with veterans. There's trauma with substance abuse. There's trauma with mental health diagnoses. There's trauma with just different events that happen in life. But please address the issues of the trauma that is experienced during incarceration, even if it's a trauma from being disrespected as a Muslim woman, and having to come out here and disconnect from that experience so that you can be productive.
Okay. I have another question from Lee Jennifer. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the screen. So her question is, what is the best thing a person from the outside can provide to somebody on the inside? Again, I'm going to defer to Sister Fatima, Sister Karima, from your experience, what were some of the things that were most beneficial from the outside community?
Go ahead, Fatima.
Um, just hmm, let me think. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I guess just I have to put my phone on the charger. I'm sorry. I guess just like just just to have some like somebody in your corner, like, or you know, family. Is it's really hard in there. But you know, just if somebody just can give you a letter and it'll turn your whole day around, or email, or you know, it's and like just to have like somebody there, anybody really, like it's a difficult thing, like, honestly. But let me see.
I
Um,
think to give
I
somebody
mean,
hope,
yeah,
give
yeah,
somebody
that's
hope. Hope is so important to
mm,
create hope. And the way that you create hope is to believe in that person, to believe that they can be better, believe that they are doing better, and believe that they will get better. You know,
inshallah,
hope is
inshallah.
so important because once a person loses hope, it's hard to regain it.
Mm.
And I know after 26 years, like I had that experience of believing that I would never get out of prison, to being asked, what are you going to do when you get out of prison? To being released from prison and to being successful, you know?
Mm. Really great points to share. Inshallah, these points are going to be beneficial for those on the inside. This is a question from Aisha. Her question is: Do you feel like having a close relationship with either your parents or elders in the community would have helped with the temptations surrounding the dunya? So again, I'll open up for the sisters to speak on that.
Um, I mean, okay, I can't. You know, adults and elders, no one's perfect. You know, so nothing ever comes with a manual when it comes to like parenting or just growing up. You know, there's no manual for it. So it's just like so yeah, you know, maybe sometimes it may work. You know, I was around a lot of elders and people who were, you know, scholars, or I wouldn't even say scholars. I would just say like Hafiz of Quran and stuff like that. And I was in Hafiz class, Arabic classes and stuff. So it's just that somebody can have the best of everything growing up, and you know, you can still stray away. So I don't I would and that's how I can answer that question the best of my ability. How do you feel about that, Karima?
I always use the example, from coming from a Muslim background, is that Allah brought me up from the best of the best. Yet I found myself in a position of the worst of the worst, which was in the belly of the beast and amongst unbelievers. But Allah used my life and raised me back up to high esteem, and brought me back to the best of the best. I think that in general, that I think that adults and that youth, that there's a gap in the bridge, right? I think that a lot of adults disassociate from their past of their childhood, and so they don't respond with as much understanding. I think if parents remember what their struggles were like and what their life was like in their childhood, then it creates a bridge so that they can communicate with their children. And I also know this to be true. I was raised correctly. My mother has always been a teacher from the day that each of her children were born. She made sure that she taught us our surahs. She taught us a lot of things. And it's not the parents' fault. Sometimes we just stray. Sometimes we have to take our own path. But this I do know to be true. And it talks about in the Quran, where it talks about, you raise a child up correctly, right? That the mother that paradise one is at the foot of the mother, but that the mother is responsible for the household and for the children. And so
Right.
my mother gave what she had to give, and she raised me correctly. And I do know that is why I am who I am today, that I am the strong woman that I am today, that I am the Muslim that I am today, right? That I have the discipline and the wisdom and the knowledge and the discernment, because I was raised Muslim. So a shout out to all parents who are raising their children correctly, and your children stray. I promise you, they will come back into the folds of Al-Islam.
Ameen. Ameen.
I promise.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Were there any? I was gonna I guess say my last word as well if there were any more questions. What'd you say?
Yeah, if you have anything you wanted to say to add to that, we still have a few more minutes.
Right.
Oh no, if there's more questions, I was just gonna explain what I had going on.
Oh yeah, please do.
Yeah. So I just want to let everybody know, all the viewers, you can right now. You can reach me on social media. I'm on Instagram. It's mfysbeauty.com, and the reason why it's called Makeup for Your Soul. So I do have a book that I've written. It's called Makeup for Your Soul, where I teach young women about inner beauty, but through makeup. So each chapter has is a makeup step, but it's reversed into inner beauty. So I like to wear lipstick. So the chapter Lipstick is about beautiful words, communication, speaking life into people instead of speaking down. So I kind of reversed all the makeup steps into inner beauty. So it's really, really cool. Also, I stated at the beginning, I am running for a Miss Black America pageant, where I want to use the platform to not only talk about my book, but as an author, but also represent a Muslim woman, a Black Muslim woman, and use the platform to promote modesty. I'm going to be covered up, and I'm going to just still use that platform. So if you want to support, you can follow me on IG, or also you can donate. I am looking for people to sponsor the pageant as well. So you can get in contact with them. If you don't remember this information, you can contact Linked Outside and get in touch with me as well. And you can donate to support the cause. The pageant is January 30th. So I'm looking for any Muslim sponsors that want to help out with this journey, for me to use this platform to spread knowledge. And it'll be televised. So I will shout you out as a sponsor. And I want to just use this opportunity as a speaker to try something different. So get in contact with me.
Thank you so much. And so we just have a few more minutes left. And I do want to respect everyone's time, especially those on the East Coast. It's getting close to 9 o'clock. So just as a reminder, we have there's many ways that you can help. As we've talked about, you have opportunities to donate to Link Outside. Visit us, linkoutside.com. Email us, info@linkoutside.com. It's running on the bottom screen here. We have a donor box page, so it's donorbox.org/linkoutside. Definitely can't forget A Loving Act. They are our representatives on the in the Georgia side, so they're alovingact.org, and you can find out more about them and how to help. And then lastly, too, if you wanted to be a part of this new initiative that we're launching to be able to support our incarcerated sisters, specifically through a regular newsletter that we're going to be able to, inshallah, post. Sister Khadija, would love to have you, share some of your words as well. And anyone else out there that has anything, spiritual, anything personal development, art. If you like taking photography, you have artwork you want to do, poetry. Inshallah, this is going to be an amazing platform specifically for sisters. We've never done this before, and as far as I know, I don't believe there currently exists a newsletter specifically for incarcerated Muslimas. So this might be its first of its kind. So I do want to invite everybody to get a part of that by emailing us at info@linkoutside.com. So we've got just about 1 minute left. I wanted to just to say again, alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the opportunity to come here tonight and speak to everybody. Thank you to Islamic Institute of Orange County, our sponsor. A shout out to A Loving Act again, CARE Georgia, Muslim American Society, and the Muslim community, Muslim MCC of East Bay. And any closing words, our dear beloved guests?
We love you all.
Apologize.
Hello?
I had the Sister Fatima, any last words?
I just want to just say, just want to say, alhamdulillah, grateful for this, opportunity to speak, and just let everybody know you guys can do anything coming out of the prison, men, women, y'all can do anything here. You heard it from us. We entrepreneurs. We only been out for a year. We entrepreneurs out here. I sell cars. Karima got her own salon. So you guys can do anything. I promise you.
And as a closing I would just like to once again ask people to please go to change.org and sign the petition that will enable the 266,000 citizens in Georgia that are disenfranchised voters, assist them in the right to vote while they are still on supervision. That is coming out of UMAN Atlanta. I wanted to make sure that I put the campaign out there, make sure that people are aware so that we can get the signatures that are necessary.
Alhamdulillah. This is an amazing opportunity, and we hope that there's a lot of good that can come out of it. So definitely keep Iman Atlanta on your favorites page, like them and subscribe to them. They're imanatlanta.org. Again, they're going to be, their name is scrolling at the bottom. So I would just definitely want to let you all know that there's a lot of ways you can help. I think that the message here is that there is a need, right? I didn't mention this too, but Sister Atia hooked me up to visit the sisters in Georgia last year. I think it was Lee Arndale.
Lee Arndale.
Yeah, right.
Lee Arndale.
And the thing that I was so surprised of, this was around the Eid al-Adha. The sisters there were so knowledgeable. I was just blown away. Like I had some questions prepared, and they were answering them all. They were jumping ahead. I was like, I want to actually learn from them. So I was very amazed. But at the same time, some of these facilities don't even have a Muslim volunteers that come regularly. Some of them don't. Staff, as we mentioned, there's prejudice, there's discrimination. Although we can't solve all that, that's outside of our realm. But a simple letter, somebody said, a simple letter, an inspiring, uplifting message, giving them hope that can change someone's life around. So I do definitely want to encourage everybody to visit all the different organizations that are doing this amazing work, and to, inshallah, be very generous both with your funds and with your time, because this is something that is needed, and we can't do it without God, without Allah's help, and after that, with the help of our community. So may Allah reward everybody, keep everybody happy and safe and blessed out there. Thank you again so much for our speakers, for Sister Khadija for emceeing us tonight. And we will catch you, inshallah, next time. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.